Joanna, welcome back for part two of our conversation. It's so wonderful to have you on again. I thought part
Me
one went so
too.
well.
I
Part one went
thought
so
so
well.
too. Yeah. We have a good flow.
Yeah, we had a really good flow. We had a really good flow. Okay, let's get to know you a little bit better. Let's play Two Truths and a Lie. This is where you say three things
Okay.
about yourself, and I see if I can tell which one is the lie.
Okay. All right. Um, okay. Number one, I backpacked in Europe while I was pregnant. Number two, I was born with six toes, but when I turned 18, I had a procedure done to get the one toe removed. Um, and my third one, I have dressed up as a man twice for Halloween, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Okay, I'm going to set aside the backpack in Europe while pregnant because I kind of, I, I mean, probably early pregnancy, so I'm going to set that one aside. You gave
Okay.
a lot of detail with the two, with the born with the six
Mm,
toes, age 18,
mhm,
18, you got one removed.
mhm.
And then dressed up as a man two times for Halloween. I for sure I feel like I've seen you at least once
Mm,
before Halloween, like on an Instagram story, whatever. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. So that leads me back to that second one with the born with the you gave a lot of detail. So I don't know, maybe it was too much. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Okay, but sometimes people give too much detail on the lie. So I'm thinking that
That's
number
true.
two is the lie. How'd I do?
Yes, it is a lie. Man, I was like really proud of that one too. I had like a whole story to go along with it
Oh
of
my
like
gosh.
being awake and while the procedure was being done,
Oh
that
my
my foot's
gosh.
numb. Yeah, but you're right. You're right. That's where I screwed up. I was too
Okay.
specific. Yeah.
Well, it's just funny because sometimes yeah. Anyway, I love these. So you did backpack in Europe while pregnant, and that was probably early on, I would think, right?
I did. I backpacked through Europe when I was pregnant with Ezra because we actually planned the trip before I found out I was pregnant. And then we got pregnant. Well, I got pregnant. Mark didn't do anything. Um,
Well, you did
and
something.
yeah, he did. Yeah. Um, but yeah, we still went on the trip and it was really fun. But it was like during my second trimester. So I think it was good timing. But yeah, we did Europe for like 2 months.
Two
And it
months? Now
was,
that part I
yeah.
did not remember. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was kind of like a blur like that time. Yeah. But it was really fun. Highly recommend. Maybe not being pregnant though, because it was really hard to go to places like Ireland and France where there's beer and wine and Mark's just like enjoying himself. And I was like, good for you, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Oh
But
my
aside from
gosh.
that, it was fun.
Yeah. And then you dressed up as a man twice for Halloween. That was true. And you
That
enjoyed it.
was.
So,
I
okay,
did.
so what did you enjoy about that? I'm curious.
You know, I felt really empowered. I felt like I could do whatever I wanted to, say whatever I wanted to because I was a man. And, it was great.
Wow, that's
um,
very
it
interesting.
was, I think I make a really attractive man, you know? I think I do.
Great.
Um, I don't know that Mark would agree. I don't think he liked it very much. I think he was turned off, but you know what? I loved it.
That is so fun. That is so fun. So let me ask you, did you have a jacket on each time you were a man?
No. Well, okay. The first time, yes, I did. Yeah. The
Okay.
second time, no, I did not have a
Did
jacket
you
on.
have a tie on the second time?
I had a tie on the first time. Yeah.
But not the second time. Because I'm
Mm-mm.
wondering if wearing like quote unquote power suit is kind of part
Maybe
of what
that's,
helped
yeah.
you feel like the character of being a man.
Yeah, I think it was like something about like my haircut and with like a nice stash, I just felt I felt like a badass a little bit. But I like being a woman better. I will say that.
Oh, how fun. I'm just wondering how you can harness some of that and bring it into being a woman, I don't know, just something for you to think about.
Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah, yeah,
ooh.
right. Something for
Yeah.
you to think
Okay.
about because,
Yeah.
just bring some of that over into your
That's
woman
true.
lane.
Wow. I like that, Rochelle. I really like
Okay,
that. You're right. Yeah.
good. That's so fun. Growing up, who did you look up to?
I think I have a lot of role models in my life personally, but then also I think personally I looked up to my parents, of course. My dad was someone that I looked up to so much and still do, along with my mom as well. I had two really close friends. Well, I have two close friends, David and Christy, who were kind of like a safe space for me growing up when it came to, you know, talking about my faith and, about what God was teaching me and just asking questions about God. I think they were two people that um, during my teenage years, like, I think they were important in my life because they both uh, really they loved Jesus and they um you know trusted in God so much, but then they were also such a safe space for me to be honest and open about questions that I had, about doubts that I had, and that was important. um but I also think like um growing up I also looked up to a lot of like entertain people in the entertainment industry, like a lot of actors, actresses, singers. um yeah, so I
Okay.
think personally it was probably my parents and David and Christy and my sister as well. I think my sister is someone I currently look up to. I think growing up I just fought with her all the time, but then
That's cute.
after I kind of left home, she's been like a best friend, but then also like someone that I really look up to now, when I think about like having faith in God. Yeah, she's someone that I really really look up to.
Right. Well, she's a wonderful woman and a woman of faith and so many great qualities. And I'm so happy to have met you both. And I met you through her, Priscilla Norman. We'll give a little shout out there. Very
Yeah, she
good.
paid me to say all this, by the way,
Okay.
but
Well, I hope it was good,
we'll
a
talk about
good
that.
amount.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a good 300. um
Oh, that's so fun. Okay, let's take our deep dive because you are a spicy Christian woman becoming all that in a bag of chips because it's becoming ing. The ing is means it's ongoing. It's a process, right?
mm.
I mean, it means you haven't arrived. I haven't arrived. We're in it. We're in it. What is one gift God has given you?
This one was really hard to think about. I think a gift that maybe that I've been thinking about recently that God has given me is probably the gift of being vulnerable,
Mm.
and being honest. I think I've I think I've been in spaces before where I have been told like, "Hey, you don't need to talk about that," or you don't need to open up about this. I've been in spaces before where people have tried to kind of shut that down. Um, and it has kind of caused me to like, retreat and like go inside myself where it's just like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't like be as open and honest about things that I've gone
Mm.
through and things that I'm going through and, working on. But I think recently I'm looking at my vulnerability, well, that's a big word, in a different way where I'm trying to I think I'm starting to look at it more as a strength now, whereas
Uh,
before, I think for a long time I saw it as a weakness because when I was vulnerable, I was told like, "Hey, hey, hey, you don't need to share all that. Like you don't need to like that's too much, people can't handle that." And I don't know, I think um recently like going through therapy and stuff like and talking to a therapist who has kind of helped me love that part of myself. I think now I'm like learning to see being vulnerable as a gift and as a strength. So yeah. Yeah.
I
I
think
think
it's
that's my gift.
incredible. And that came up in part one of our conversation also, being vulnerable, being honest. And well, I want to say that I'm sorry you were ever in a situation where you didn't feel safe enough to be yourself and to show up vulnerable, to show up
Yeah.
honest. And I'm hoping that, and it sounds like you've been able to take those experiences and go, wait a minute, that's a strength. That's part of who I
Yeah.
am, and really kind of push against that because
Yeah.
this is a gift and it helps other people. So it's about you, but then it's also about those around you.
Yeah. I agree. And it's funny because the few times when I think about, like, where I was in spaces where I was told, like, "Hey, you're saying too much. You don't need to share that." They were in Christian spaces,
Oh
And
gosh.
isn't that so interesting?
Horrible.
Yeah,
Horrible.
but I think that's where it's like I think it's I think that's something that you see a lot in churches and in a Christian world is where, like, you're going through these battles, but you shouldn't be talking about it because like that's between you and God, and you shouldn't be open about what you're going through, because that's just icky, and it's like we're not and it just has kind of made me think like about Christianity again in today's world and how it's like I think sometimes I feel like when I'm in a room filled with Christians, like, I think now sometimes I feel like that's the one place where I can't be honest. I can't be, like, vulnerable, and it makes me sad because I think that's supposed to be the space where people should be the most authentic and honest and real, but I think Christianity in today's world it's it's just very different. It feels like it's a space where we say come as you are, but it's like but not really. It's kind of like you have to have
Uh,
your shit together and, or else there's judgment behind it. And it
yeah.
just makes me sad. And I think that was also a part of the reason where I think I went through I definitely think I went through a phase for a couple of years where it was like, I don't know if I believe in God. Um, and I think it's because of how I felt being in Christian spaces a lot of the time. But at the end of the day, again, I kept coming back to Jesus,
Right.
and who he is. And so, yeah.
So the realization was that the people were showing up really as less than they could or should have been, and you recognized that it wasn't about God, it was about
Yeah.
the people. And I would obviously recommend to anybody that if you're not showing up as yourself and being valued for that, then you need to find a new place,
Yeah.
whatever that might look like, or
Yeah.
the boundaries of, you stay there, I'm here,
Yeah. I
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Mhm.
very good. Why do you think that we're afraid as women to say yes to all that God has for us?
Um, because it's scary. I think I think like saying yes means I think when you say yes to God, it also means it's like a big surrender of yourself,
Mm,
and that's a really scary thing to do. Um, yeah, I think for me, saying yes to God this last year has felt like it has felt scary because it has meant like giving up giving up control for myself and giving up control in a way that like it was a security blanket for me.
mm,
And I think when you're saying yes to God, you're letting go of that security that you give yourself. Um, and it's kind of, I don't know, I sometimes I feel like when you say yes to God, it's almost like I feel like I'm like floating in space where it's like I don't have any sense of like control really or anything to like bring me back down, and that kind of scares me sometimes.
right.
But then it's like you kind of get to the other side of it when you do say yes and you see everything that he does and you see how he takes care of you and he pushes you and he provides for you in ways that are like more than what you would have expected. And so like that's like yeah, I think that's like the positive that comes out of it, you know?
Right.
It's like what sucks is like you're letting go of the control that you have that you want to give yourself. But when you do say yes to God, I think it not only opens so many doors, but it also gives you a stability that you could never have given yourself. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. You're dropping some real good truth bombs here. This has been just incredible. I mean,
Must be the coffee that I had this morning. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
no, yeah, I really appreciate everything you're saying. There's so much wisdom there, Joe. I don't know if you consider yourself wise, but I'm going to tell you right here and now that you've got some real wisdom within you, and thank you for that. So, we're talking about women and the fears that stop us. And you've talked about because it's scary, it's a big surrender and feeling anxious and all of that. Is that sort of where you would say you struggle with, as you've been talking about, where you struggle, or do you see other fears that women have, and you think, well, that's not really my fear, but I see that a lot of women have that.
I mean, I think it's really everything that I've been saying, where I think like a fear that I also see in other women is being vulnerable and just
Mhm.
being honest and open with where you're at and what you're going through. And, what, like, even I think, like, even to say, like, as a Christian, that I struggle with my faith in God. I struggle in believing that God is real at times. Like sometimes things like that feel so um scary to say because you're afraid of being judged, as a
Mhm.
Christian. But I don't know. I think it just all comes back to uh, being vulnerable, and that's a fear that like I have been working on.
Mhm.
And I think it's also a fear that I see in so many other women in many ways, because women are the easiest to get judged. They
Yeah.
get judged so quickly for the things that they say and the things that they do. And so I think as a woman, it's harder to like be vulnerable because of judgment.
Right. And I would add fear of rejection. I don't know if we would say that's a fear of
Yeah.
judgment or not, but I mean, there have been times in my life when I felt like, okay, I'm going to be vulnerable, and I say the thing or share the feeling or whatever, and it's not received, and you're like, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah, definitely.
whoa, whoa, whoa. It doesn't
Hmm.
feel very good. It doesn't feel very good, but you have to, You have to keep moving. And that, oh my goodness, do not stop being vulnerable and showing up honest because
Yeah.
of an experience like that, because
Yeah.
so much better in the long run to find the people you can be that with and the situations where you can be that
I
than
agree.
shrinking in, because that shrinking in is just, it feels awful. It just
Yeah.
feels so, so awful.
Yeah, it's the worst feeling. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's the worst feeling in the world, especially I think like especially when you're in a space like in a small group or like in a setting where you feel like these are people that I should be able to trust and I should be able to grow with and then when you feel that rejection for being honest and open and it's the worst because yeah you go into yourself you like
Right.
shrink into yourself where it's just like I shouldn't have said that or I shouldn't have been that honest or maybe the way that I think is not right and it's is not okay and but yeah I think you made such a great point of like if you're in a space where you sense that then you have to know immediately like this is not the space for me
Right.
um
And that has
yeah
to be okay. That has to be okay,
yes
because not every space is for you, not every person is for you. So it's kind of like clothes, trying them on. No, this one's not for me.
yeah
Whatever analogy you want to give. I think the part I want to emphasize is you have to keep trying to find those spaces and those places and those people, because it's imperative for your growth,
yeah
because we're not born and live in a cave by ourselves and just do everything by ourselves. I mean, we're in
yeah
community, we're in the world, connecting with others in all kinds of different ways, personally, work-wise, church-wise. I mean, all kinds of different ways. Yeah, I just would really encourage everybody to keep moving forward. And I'm so glad you did. And I'm so glad you show up in a vulnerable, honest way. And yes, it's very exciting to see you flourish and grow and blossom. Those are beautiful things.
thanks Rochelle thank
You're
you
welcome. What piece of advice would you give to women as we're talking about this to encourage them to become all that they are meant to be?
um I think I think advice that I'm giving to myself or trying to work on for myself that maybe could help other women is, yeah, to, trust that you are going to find um, either the right group of people or the right person um, that will that will kind of like help you have a safe space if you don't have that right now.
Right.
Because yeah, I think for a while I felt like it was weird of me to be vulnerable and like put things out there and talk about current struggles that I've had and put that out in the open. Um, but I think then I realized like, no, that's a good thing to be open and if I'm not finding that here with these people, then like I'm gonna find that elsewhere and I'm gonna find it in a different way. And so I don't know. I think my advice would be to just keep seeking God and trusting him that he's gonna bring you the right person or the right community that you need. Um, and if you don't have that right now, it's okay. And to
Right.
just trust that he'll help you find that.
Right.
Um,
And you have to participate in that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You can't, sit at home and not participate in that. You have to go out, you
Mm,
have to take the risk, you have to
right.
try. You have to try
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. That's very, very good advice, because we all need that. We all definitely need that for sure. Is there anything in conclusion, anything you felt like you didn't get to say that you wanted to say?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Very good. Well, where can people find you?
On Instagram,
Okay.
Joanna Mayo. Yeah.
Okay. And I'll be sure and include that for sure. Very nice. Well, this has just been, oh my gosh, just a wonderful, wonderful time. Sean is, I thought I had my thing on Do Not Disturb. Oh, well. And of course, it would be Sean. Sean would be the one beeping in.
Oh,
Okay.
hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean. Oh, how fun. Yes, I just think you are full of wisdom and impact for others and inspiration and encouragement and all these incredible things that you've shared here today. And I am so glad that you're in this world and that you can show up vulnerable and honest. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Rochelle. And thank you. Thank you for, asking me again to do this when I was so anxious about it. And I'm glad I did something like this, and thank you for just always being like such an inspiration.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you, Joe.